Coming up on today's show.
Food and beverage in China, it's developing very quickly, it's modernizing very quickly.
I think it's going to be a great market for whoever wants to venture in the foreigner restaurants.
There's a lot of opportunities, and specifically for people who are doing something of high quality.
Canton's people are very conservative in their food. Now they actually want to try more foreign food.
I also try different food, like weird food, whatever everybody calls
Weird foods. What have you tried?
I had lobster sashimi, and the lobster wasn't actually dead yet.
You cannot do that in America.
You can, yeah, I don't think you could eat live animals like that.
That's probably not allowed in the States.
Yeah, a lot of people think like they have this dream to sort of open up a cafe or restaurant.
You have the total plan, you do it step by step.
This is difficult. It's difficult. You have to follow the rules. Thank God now they have rules.
Welcome to China Chats, a FaceTime production brought to you by Radio Guangdong and GDTV World. Today's episode, we're talking about food and beverage in Guangdong. And to help me do that, we have Nestor, who runs EHS, Nicola, who runs Art Cafe, and
Hello.
David from Ricci Cafe. Thanks for having us.
My pleasure.
So now, food and beverage in China, it's developing very quickly, it's modernizing very quickly. And can we kind of jump into what you gentlemen all do here in Guangzhou? Starting with you, Nestor?
Well, I'm having a F&B academy in China and a bar. We have different lines in our company, which is corporate, mostly hotels. And then we have individuals, local people that want to learn more about the beverage. And then we have foreigners coming down also from basically mostly from Scandinavia.
So you're educating entrepreneurs kind of on, or want to be entrepreneurs on how
Exactly.
to open a business. And Nicola, how about your restaurant here?
I open an Italian restaurant. I know all the restaurants you go to eat in Italian restaurant, they are all the same menu. So I decided to open something different, something where you can eat good Italian food, but it's not the same that you find in all the restaurants.
So is it more authentic, would you say?
It's authentic for sure,
Yeah.
because I'm from Italy and I study culinary art in Italy. It's just, it's not the same salad, the same pasta dish that you find in all the restaurants.
Okay. And David, can you tell us a little bit about your restaurant as well?
Sure. Ricci Creative Eats is doing Asian-inspired food, beverages, and desserts. So what we're doing is we're taking the concept of international food, for example, a sandwich or a drink, but combining it with Asian flavors. So
Okay.
a perfect example of what we're doing is something called a spicy mocha,
Okay.
which is actually a mocha drink, but we developed our own proprietary spicy syrup that we put in the drink, and it's actually one of our best sellers.
Really?
So we're doing, we're actually a chain restaurant. So this restaurant we're in right now here is our 4th restaurant in China. And we have 2 in Beijing, 1 in Shanghai, and 1 here in Guangzhou.
Oh, okay, very good.
So we're hoping to grow in China and also expand into some of the second-tier cities as well.
Okay, great. And where would you say the food and beverage market is in China as a whole? The economy's growing, so there's more outside influences. Have you seen a rise in, I guess, foreign foods or maybe foreign concepts?
Yeah, it's growing. The market is growing, and there is a lot of possibility for everybody. Also
Okay.
because, I mean, there are very few foreigner restaurants.
Would you say Guangzhou's kind of ahead, kind of leading the way, or is it still, as Nestor said, behind maybe
No,
Beijing?
it's a little bit behind.
Okay.
It's opening up right now, and I think it's going to be a great market for whoever wants to venture in the foreigner restaurants.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of wealth here. There's a lot of people. Very hot developing place.
I think a lot of risk,
Yeah,
more risks.
more risks, but
And,
then maybe more benefits as well.
Well, I think it's 50-50.
50-50,
Yeah.
all right.
I would say also because Guangzhou is still further behind Beijing and Shanghai, as I said, there's a lot of opportunities, and specifically for people who are doing something of high quality, and that'll sort of raise the level, I think, of the whole town of Guangzhou, and so that the people who were doing business not very well, but they were still getting by because there's nothing else, those people are going to go away. And from now on, it's the people who are innovating and doing something special and interesting are going to be sort of the successful people, I think, in Guangzhou.
So it's turning into a more quality-driven market, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
creative market, and you said innovators.
Yeah.
And we've talked about the market, it's developing, it's changing. Have you guys noticed any trends?
Well, I think that Canton's people are very, I would say, conservative in their food. Now they actually want to try more foreign food, but I still think that it's a long way for Guangzhou for the Western food. I do think so.
Nicola, would you agree with that?
But I came here 2.5 years ago, and I used to go to the market to choose produce, vegetables, fruit, and now I went back this year again, and I see more people specialize in organic produce, organic fruit. So I think that everybody is moving, following the trend of America and Europe, where there's no preservative in the food, fresh food, and try to eat better.
I have a lot of customers who come in, actually some customers come in every day and are ordering the vegetarian options, whether it's because of their religion or their background, or some people are trying to avoid meat. Specifically men actually on this so-called paleo diet where they don't eat any bread or grains or anything, and they're coming to my restaurant and eating salad and these sort of products that, you know, so they can lose weight and feel great.
Put
so
some muscle on. And
yeah,
meat
right? So this
only,
is a trend I'm
vegetables.
noticing as well.
Oh, okay. And for this episode, we asked a few locals what their thoughts were on foreign foods here in China, and here's what they had to say.
还蛮喜欢的，喜欢。
可以接受一点点。
I like the taste of it. I don't know. In China, most food is adapted to Chinese people's taste. So, but actually, I like the more Western style food.
有一点中国味的西餐。
中国人改造过一点点的中餐。
根据中国人改编的话，因为我是广东人，所以习惯吃广东菜比较多。不怎么喜欢西餐里面的汤，我喜欢我们中国广东的老火汤。
因为我们比较地道的广州人可能接受不了一些太细化的东西。
Just sometimes they are not that suitable for me, but I would like to have a try.
David, these sound like maybe your perfect potential customers.
Yeah, absolutely. These are the sort of people that would sort of come to our restaurant looking for an international concept, but sort of local tastes.
Okay, so it sounds like you're definitely filling a need then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. We've talked about trends, kind of where the market is going. We've said it's a little bit behind. What would you guys say is something missing in Guangzhou that isn't here yet?
Actually, it's missing everything in Guangzhou.
Everything's missing right now, huh?
Now, there's
That's not
no,
there yet.
like, for example, in the restaurant, it's difficult to find specialized people. Like, it's missing a good school where they teach them how to work.
Okay.
Also service, the
Okay.
cooking.
The chefs, and you're trying to change that as
I
well.
mean, that's where I'm coming from.
And he's helping us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I think the Guangdong is a different way to approach the local people. I think that we need to educate them first.
Okay.
Okay, I think that they don't know what a good cocktail actually is. Now people want to learn, and they feel good because they get some kind of knowledge.
Okay.
They don't want to work as a bartender or barista. They don't. It's just they want to learn. I think the product that they were going to buy in the future.
Oh, so they want to learn the process. First.
Yeah, and I mean they're traveling out more outside China, and then they realize when they get back, oh yeah, the cosmopolitan I was drinking was not as good.
This
as
is
I
not the
thought.
same
Yeah,
thing.
that's the
Yeah.
same thing. It's a problem, but if you give a person a cocktail that is not used to it, they think that's the wrong one. But actually, that's the real one. That's the that's the really traditional cocktail.
Absolutely.
But they will complain because it doesn't.
Maybe
taste before.
it's not to their taste, right?
Yeah, because they have the old version.
Yeah, absolutely. David, do you have anything to add on top of that, kind of where the market is?
Yeah, I would say with regards to staff and skill sets as well, I feel like in China, working at a restaurant for a lot of people is not seen as prestigious as other professions, and therefore people maybe don't take as much pride, perhaps, in being a waiter or a waitress or a cook. It's sort of like in China, maybe it's like, oh, if I can't do anything else, I'll be a cook or a waitress. Yeah. But whereas in the West, people, develop careers upon being in this service industry and the food and beverage industry, and you can feel proud and glad about, giving good service, making good food.
Like a sommelier or like a master bartender. These people who, you make their careers F&B. That doesn't exist here yet, right?
And actually, one other thing I would say is that in Guangzhou, there's a lack of, I would say, high-end restaurants that aren't in a hotel. Whereas in Beijing, where I've lived previously, and I know in Shanghai, they actually do have a lot of non-hotel restaurant.
Yeah.
Really,
In
great
Shanghai, they have
places.
Michelin restaurants, and Beijing as
Yeah.
well, and that has been a concern. Is here in Guangzhou, just strictly hotels, or you can find a steakhouse or something where the service is a different level, right?
Right, that's right.
All right, and we also asked about the service industry here in Guangzhou and what people thought of how far along it is.
必须服务为主。
我觉得服务那块很重要了。
I think the first you should have a good taste. If you have a better service, that's kind of a plus.
Service is one of the most important items. Especially, it's not easy to reach the goal in a restaurant here in China.
You know, the five-star hotels and the big businesses, they've always got impeccable service from a Western standpoint. But then I've also come to really appreciate what service means from a Chinese standpoint at a five-star or at a high level. When you get below that, I think there's a learning curve that's happening.
I think it's better than the North China and the South China, yeah.
It's improved. It's improved tremendously. I live in Zhejiang, and we have a lot of restaurants there, and it's been really interesting watching the service of those restaurants and how they have grown and grown. Yeah. I'm pretty happy.
All right, well, it looks like the market's improving, and that's something you're helping to do here in Guangzhou, correct?
Absolutely.
And have you seen an increase in maybe clients or customers coming to your school, or at least an increase in the quality of the people?
I think it's increased the quality of the people.
Very good.
Yeah, in my academy.
So it sounds like, yeah, this market's just overall developing slowly but surely.
Yeah.
We also asked a few people about their favorite restaurants in town and why they like them so much. Let's see what they had to say.
Yes, I have a favorite restaurant in my neighborhood where I eat Dongbei food, and I am especially fond of the Gongbao chicken. It's excellent there, so that's why I love it. Very local, very small, very good.
French restaurant, very small one. The owner is very nice. He is full of passion.
I like Italian, but I'm very partial to French.
Any restaurant that serves good vegetarian food.
I mean, there are great Western options here, but I don't bother because I love Chinese food and there's such variety. So
you'll be surprised that in the 11 years I've been here, there are more and more restaurants that serve vegan food or vegetarian food.
We have a lot of good restaurants in here, and also I come from Beijing. Yeah. So you know, I go to places from time to time for great food.
I like to see creativity, and I'm seeing more and more creativity in all fields. And I've had some really interesting dishes that have been prepared by local Chinese chefs that combine some native elements, but also some international elements.
Seems like everybody's open to Western foods, and one of the highlights in that video was Italian cuisine. Nicola, you're a master of that. Have you seen an increase in business since you've opened your doors?
We are doing very good, and people love Italian food.
Yeah.
People, Chinese, they love Italian food. I think also because the cuisine from Chinese cuisine and Italian cuisine is very similar. And I think it's one of the main reasons why the Chinese, they love so much Italian food.
And talking more about Guangdong specifically, I want to get into the cuisine a little bit. So Guangzhou is very famous for food. It's the food capital of China. But you guys personally, where is your favorite Chinese food? Is it Guangzhou, Beijing, Sichuan? What's your favorite?
I think it's from the south, yeah.
Yeah?
Guangdong,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
For sure, yeah.
And why is that?
Some varieties in here in Guangzhou.
All right, and how about you, Nicola?
I like a little bit everything, plus it's my job to taste everything. So I also try different food, like weird food, whatever everybody calls weird
foods.
food.
What have you tried? Let's get on to some of
Well, I tried the rice bugs.
The rice bugs?
Yeah. It's a big...
I won't eat any bugs.
But lately I found a wonderful restaurant, and it's from the cuisine is from the northeast.
Dongbei, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And it's very good. They have a wonderful mouton, lamb. It's amazing. Very good.
And David, how about you?
I would say, I mean, of course, I like a lot of Chinese food too, but I wanted to mention actually one of the more interesting experiences I had. Actually, here in Guangzhou a few years ago, I had lobster sashimi. And what they did was they put a lobster on a big bucket of ice, and the lobster wasn't actually dead yet. So we were actually eating the lobster, when it was still sort of like its antennas were sort of moving around.
You were eating it
And we were
while he was
eating it while he
alive?
was sort of like alive. And I thought that was like one of the coolest things I'd ever done.
How
Yeah.
did it taste?
It was excellent, yeah.
It was excellent.
Yeah.
You cannot do that in America.
You can, yeah. I don't think you could eat live animals sort of like that.
That's probably not allowed in the States.
Yeah,
or,
okay.
in Europe, but in
And
China.
also in Europe, because I remember when I was in Germany, we couldn't. We have the cart with the live food, and it passed a law that we cannot
So you had
present the
to-
seafood alive anymore.
Oh, no live seafood. That was pretty awesome, yeah.
It looks like it's a unique experience here in Asia then, huh?
Yeah.
And another question I'd like to ask for some of our viewers is setting up shop in China, doing business in China from the F&B perspective. Do you guys have any tips or maybe advice?
I think that foreigners have to be careful when they come here and they see a lot of opportunities. When they see this, they need to consider that these opportunities, why they're still open, these opportunities.
Absolutely.
Okay? Not just see that, oh, they don't have this kind of a kebab restaurant, whatever, here,
Yeah.
and they go for it, and then it doesn't work. There's a reason also why things it's not in the F&B.
Yeah, maybe these
right now.
restaurants don't exist because they're not successful or the city isn't ready for them
Actually,
yet, right?
exactly. Could be
Okay.
that, yeah. That kind of
Okay,
reason.
understood. And Nicola, how about you?
Well, it's difficult to find the right key to open a restaurant, open a bar. You have to find what exactly is missing, and you have to do it in the right way. Because yes, the Chinese, they're very loyal to you, but in the moment you make a mistake, they completely...
They won't come back and try
Yeah.
again.
I mean, a lot of people think like they have this dream to sort of open up a cafe or restaurant.
Yeah.
And I would say two things about that. Number one is that you just can't imagine how much work it is and all the things that could go wrong. And number two is like, you know, for example, if you think like, wow, I love sandwiches, it doesn't mean everybody else is going to love your sandwiches.
Yeah,
So it
very
doesn't
true.
mean just because you like a food, everybody else will. So you need to figure out what do the people really want. And of course, it's easier as foreigners to do foreign food that you know foreigners will like.
Yeah.
But there's 1.4 billion Chinese,
Yeah.
and not so many foreigners, you know, sort of thing. So you have to remember that.
Yeah,
and the other thing I would say is sort of you have to localize and get local partners to help you, because there's no way you'll ever understand all the intricacies of working with the government bureaus and things like that. So really, you need to sort of find out the local knowledge and find out what are some things you can and cannot do.
So like your approach for this one here in Guangzhou is different from the Shanghai and the Beijing ones, right?
Yeah, that's right. We need to, even setting up the business was structured differently in Shanghai than here in Guangzhou, depending on the area that you're in.
Okay.
So every place is different.
So it sounds
Yeah.
like it's a pretty long road from idea to reality for these
Yeah,
kind
I
of
think the
businesses.
legal part is very important.
The legal part.
Yeah, legal part is very important. You need
Okay.
to be careful. You have the total plan, but you do it step by step. And it's not the way we do in Europe. You know, when you really open a shop in Europe, you do it bam with everything.
Yeah.
Totally, even the details. It's quite difficult to do that.
Would
need
you
to
agree
start.
very difficult with a very hard place to open a restaurant?
Yes, it's difficult. It's
Yeah.
difficult. You have to follow the rules. Thank God now they have rules.
Do they? They have rules now? I didn't know.
Well,
sounds
when
like
you
they're
build the
making some.
kitchen, you need to have a all separate section for preparation, receiving. So that's good because it's more sanitized,
More structure, cleaner.
so more organized. So they're getting there. They're getting there. But following the rules sometimes is also difficult
Yeah,
because the
absolutely.
space that you have, you have to deal with the space that you're renting.
The rules are always changing,
Yeah.
and it depends on the season. So you sort of test the waters and see what you can get away with.
So the market's still developing. It
Yeah.
sounds like the rules are still developing with the market, right?
Yeah, I would say for
But
sure.
most importantly, everybody here is happy with their business and it's developing well. I mean, I can take that away from you gentlemen, correct?
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes,
Great.
yes.
Great. All right, very good. Well, that's all the time we have today on China Chats. We hope you learned something about the food and beverage market here. We look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, everyone.